Resident Evil is a 1996 survival horror game and really needs no introduction. Trapped in a zombie-infested mansion in the Arklay Mountains, Chris Redfield and Jill Valentine discover the secrets that lie within. Welcome to the world of survival horror. Atmosphere. An eerie silence hangs over the mansion and its pristine condition but lack of people is mildly unsettling. In the Great Hall there's the relentless tick of a clock and zombies shuffle around the winding corridors and lurk behind the numerous locked doors. Rooms contain strange and complex puzzles and secret areas await behind bookcases. All the while outside the zombie dogs wait to rip you to shreds. There's a grandiose feeling to the game with its large staircases and ornately furnished rooms, but then there's the gardens and outbuildings that have been taken over by evil plants and other failed experiments. After the opening sequences, you're left alone for the majority of the game, and there's a great feeling of isolation as you play, with only few parts where you interact with other members of the STARS unit. Thanks to the door loading screens, there's tension for what lies in the next room, and the soundtrack manages to evoke feelings of sinister unease with its creepy 90s strings. That's one Harry Mason. Scares. To this day I argue the scariest part of Resident Evil are the tank controls that leave you feeling vulnerable and at a disadvantage to the zombies and hopelessly outclassed by the hunters. All the jump scares, the zombie dogs jumping through windows, the snakes falling from above, and even the giant snake in the attic just aren't as frightening as not being able to get away in time from an enemy, or panicking whilst running and catching a wall, slowing yourself down, or just watching your body fall lifelessly onto the floor as a hunter leaps past you, taking your head clean off as it bounds past. There's the failure state of some puzzles that can cause you to panic too, like the room that fills up with gas when you activate the panel, or the room with the crushing ceiling that you swear is going to be your demise. And it's all scary because of the save system. Limited saves means if you didn't save, you're going to have to go and do a lot of it again, but this time you'll have to do better. I still find this the most difficult Resident Evil game, and I think that's a good thing, because with no consequences of failure, there's nothing to worry about. There are a few things that portray the serious tone of the game, like the silly voice acting and some of the CGI cutscenes where you see a hunter tear through a corridor and then politely open a door instead of smashing through it. Really, it's not these moments that you'll remember the most though. It's the running out of ammo or herbs and resorting to using a knife to make it through the nerve-wracking journey back to the save room. That's two Harry Masons. Sound design. The music in the game is very memorable, with some really simple but creepy pieces. The iconic 90s strings always reminded me of something from the X-Files, and there are some really creepy synthesizer pieces that play unsettling tones, and of course the save room music that's still vaguely uneasy. The dialogue is of course terrible, with B-movie quality voice acting that's so hilariously bad that it never fails to get a chuckle out of me, but it's become part of the charm of playing the game, and it's at its silliest here. The sound effects have become trademark of the game now, and everything from the sound of a zombie groaning to the creaking of the doors as they open is totally unforgettable. That's three Harry Masons. Gore. The pixelated gore never really gets old. Blowing up zombie heads and watching blood seep out from underneath their bodies as they twitch on the floor is still really cool to see even all these years later. It's pretty tame from what the series would lead on to, but it fits this game perfectly. That's four Harry Masons. Story. After trying to find out what happened to the STARS Alpha team, the Bravo team arrive in the forest outside the Spencer mansion and are chased inside by zombie dogs. Once inside, they split up and try to find survivors, but instead, they find the living dead. The story is sometimes really creepy, with some diary entries being almost disturbing, and sometimes cheesy, with yet more cliches of scientific experiments gone wrong. But it runs with all of it, and as the mansion opens up, you'll discover what's below, as well as characters' true motives. It's a huge plot twist for the first-time player, making the final score 5 out of 5 Harry Masons. It's hard to understate what Resident Evil did for horror games. Whilst it wasn't the first, it refined a lot of things from what came before it and led to so many others to give survival horror a go, leading on to some of the greatest games of all time. Again, I'd like to remind you this whole thing is down to my opinion in horror games, and if you don't share this opinion, then that's cool. I get it. I'd like to point out that whilst I'm lucky not to be a Jill sandwich, I did not scream like a banshee or run away from the computer, and I advise you don't either. There'll be more horror reviews in the pipeline, and thanks for watching. And always go check out Bumps in the middle of the night. Peace.